Um, my name is Daniel Philip Niayi Hammond, but I'm usually called Papani. Today I'm here to introduce you to one of our NCC models, specifically one of our diploma models. Okay, and this is called Computer Systems. Okay, I'm here to introduce you to that model so you can appreciate what you could derive from such a model if you enroll into this program with IPMC. This is a progressive model, and so this particular level is diploma. When you successfully complete this particular level, you will now move into the advanced diploma model, okay, where you would meet a number of other models. Okay, so in the diploma model there are about 8 models, and computer systems is just one of the models. Okay, I'm here to introduce you to the syllabus and what one would gain if one should enroll in such a program. The model has a number of components. The first one is Introduction to Computer Systems. Over here we are going to talk about how computer systems came into being, how the development have transitioned from one point to another. We'll be talking about supercomputers, okay, computer systems and their current nature and the future of these computer systems and how they are being used by institutions and also organizations. Okay, we'll also be talking about computers and their environment. Computers are not just placed in the environment. It is very necessary that to set up a computer system for an organization where you could help, or these systems are meant to help them to inject effectiveness and efficiency in their operations, it is very necessary you consider the environment in which these computer systems are being set up. And if you refuse to do that, you'll be surprised that even though you have computer systems to automate business processes, if you don't have the right environment for these systems to operate, at the end of the day, it will seem as if you bought these computer systems and you are not deriving any benefits from them. Okay, and then we'll also be talking about computer hardware and components. So if you see a computer system operating, one of the things you'll be asking yourself, what is in it? Okay, what is in it? What is making it do the things it does? Okay, so we'll be diving much deeper into the components of any computer hardware. We'll be talking about the various bus systems that you will find, the processor, okay, the CMOS batteries, the expansion slots, okay, and all the various components of the computer system. What makes up a computer system? The various hardware, the things you can see, feel, and touch, okay, about computer system. We'll be learning more about that. And then the fourth session talks about computer peripherals and accessories. Now, when we talk about peripherals, we are talking about add-ons, okay, those things that can be added to computer systems to make them even do more. Okay, we can talk about webcams, we can talk about printers, we can talk about plotters, we can talk about scanners, we can talk about a number of varied accessories that can be and peripherals that can be added into a computer system to make them do more than a basic computer will do. Okay, and then we'll also be talking about computer software and the languages. Computers do not operate in a vacuum. The truth is that every computer system has some kind of operating system or information system or software that makes it do the things it does. Okay, so we'll be talking about some of the programming languages that are used, okay, and how these languages have evolved over time and how they are used to effectively, okay, manage and also create an environment where computer systems are automated, okay, to do things that under normal circumstances without these softwares it is practically impossible for these computer systems to operate. Okay, and then we'll also be talking about the operating systems and interfaces. Operating systems and interfaces. So when we talk about an operating system, we are talking about a core software, okay, that usually runs on any hardware, okay, and that is the basis for installing all other applications on a computer system or on a smartphone or on a smartwatch, okay, any miniature of computer system. Okay, so we'll be talking about the various kinds of computer systems. We'll be talking about those that range from open source to proprietary ones. Open source like the Linux, and we'll look at the various the various models of the Linux environment. A typical example can be Ubuntu, okay, and that example can be Kubuntu, okay, and we'll also be talking about Unix as well. Okay, we'll be talking about the Mac OS, which is a variant of the Unix operating system. Okay, we'll also be talking about the Windows operating system. We'll be looking at the history of these operating systems, how they have been changed over time, and appreciate how these systems are actually helping computer systems, okay, to do wonderful things in business today. And then we'll also be talking about software and system testing. Every software and every system that are built to help businesses operate effectively and efficiently are heavily dependent on software. But you see, in developing a software, if you don't have any means of testing the software to make sure that it effectively meets or exceeds the expectation of the customer, the truth is that at the end of the day, you end up giving them a software that meets their requirements but misses their needs. Okay, so you come up with a set of specification that meets the users' requirements, but it misses their needs. They can't use the software to do anything. Okay, and so we'll be talking about how we appreciate softwares, how we evaluate them, and how we even test them to identify whether those softwares actually meet or exceeds the expectation of the customer. Okay, and then we'll also be talking about software maintenance. Okay, now usually after developing any particular system, after operating for some time, you realize that it will operate in a dynamic environment where a lot of variables around these systems are changing, and if your software doesn't change along, at the end of the day, your software will be so obsolete nobody would want it. Okay, so we'll be talking about how we are able to maintain softwares in such a way that they will remain relevant irrespective of the time and season within which you want to use it. Okay, so we can make scenarios about how Microsoft issues patches, okay, on specific days for their operating system, just to make sure it is relevant, patching vulnerabilities, okay, making sure that the software is up to date and can easily integrate with any other system you need to easily integrate with. Okay, and then we'll also be talking about maintenance hardware. Hardwares do not operate in a vacuum, just like softwares do not operate in a vacuum. They operate in an environment, and within the environment there are certain factors that can affect your hardware. Okay, it can come from humidity, it can come from dust, it can come from even human activity, and those things would have an impact on your hardware. How do you make sure that your hardware is always up and running, and irrespective of the time and the duration within which you run it, okay, it should be able to run effectively to achieve every necessary objective you have for that particular hardware. Okay, so we'll be looking at some of the techniques and how we could service hardwares to make sure that it is free of dust, to make sure that every component on it is running using its full maximized capacity. Okay, and then we'll also be talking about file and data management. Okay, and when we are using a computer system, the truth is that you'll be generating files. When you work with these information systems, you would have to keep record of your activities, you would have to send mails, you would have to write letters, you would have to manage certain documents as attachments that are sent to you. How do you manage this file and data in such a way that you can easily find out anything you're looking for? How do you organize it on your computer system to make sure that at any given point in time when you are looking for information, it is always at hand and you can easily get whatever data you're looking for? Okay, and then we'll also be talking about systems development, specifically the life cycle and methodologies. Now, every software that you use, okay, the truth is that there is a set of life cycle that that software goes through, okay, in order for it to be developed to meet the expectation of the client. Now, these life cycles helps us to appreciate the fact that we need to go through a systematic process, okay, of developing softwares. Okay, for example, in a standard life cycle, we will talk about the feasibility, where we look at whether it is okay for us to have this software and whether the software would meet the needs of the organization. We can talk about the technical feasibility, we can talk about the financial feasibility, we can talk about the economic feasibility, as to whether as an entity, do we even have the money, do we even have the technical people to undertake a particular system that we want to develop. Okay, then from the feasibility study, we can also talk about system analysis, okay, where we try to gather as much information about the system we want to develop, okay, have a lot of sessions where we talk with users, we use interviews, we use questionnaires to gather as much information as we would want to have in relation to the system we are going to develop. Okay, then from analysis, the next stage we move to is design. Okay, where we now use the information we have gathered to come up with designs, and in design we can have our physical design and then also our logical designs. Okay, and at the end of the day, we want to come up with a system that when the user is using it, the user can appreciate the fact that they are using a quality system, and the look and feel, it is something that can always attract them and would always want to use the system to achieve business objectives. Okay, then from design, the next thing we need to do is that we need to code. Okay, that is after we have come up with our design, we need to code to make sure that designs reflect in the software. Okay, and once we finish coding, the next thing we need to do is to test it to be sure it's whatever we coded, okay, is can be aligned to what the user really wanted. Okay, then from that testing, we would go to implementation, okay, where we would make sure that the software will go live, okay, and we will try to appreciate what the person has done, okay, what has been developed for you, test it against your objective, okay, and over there the organization will start using it. Now, after using it for some time, there may be the need for some upgrades. The organization would want to integrate it with other things, okay, and that's why the maintenance session comes in. So we'll be talking about all the life cycles. We'll be talking about even the system development methods that exist. We'll be talking about the object-oriented options, okay, for developing systems. We'll be talking about the SADAM, that is Structured Systems Analysis and Design Method. We'll be talking about DSDM. We'll be talking about Scrum. We'll be talking about extreme programming. We'll be talking about all the various development methods that do exist today. Okay, and then last but not the least, we'll also be talking about the future trends in computing and communication. Okay, we'll be talking about the current trend and how computing is changing, okay, in today's environment. So we'll be talking about the holograms. Okay, we'll be talking about remote works, okay, and how platforms like Zoom, how platforms like Microsoft Meeting, okay, Google Hangouts and what have you, and how these platforms are being used by businesses, okay, to even have virtual offices, okay, where they don't necessarily need big space to work, but almost every employee can comfortably, with the aid of computer systems, okay, work from home without affecting how they are able to deliver results, okay, in relation to every assignment that is given to them. So we'll be looking at the future trends of computing, okay, and we'll be looking at new trends in how computer systems are used in businesses today, okay, and appreciate how the 21st century is changing the mode of working, okay, using computer systems. So basically, these are the various sessions that we'll be going through, okay. The lecture is going to be a face-to-face lecture. Interestingly enough, there is an option for us to we have an option to also stream every class online as well, so students that are not able to come to the class can easily join any of our online sessions and participate live in any of our classes. Then the model, for every chapter there is a laboratory, okay, that supports the chapter, just to make sure that students appreciate what they are learning, okay, and are able to have practical sessions, okay, for every section. Okay, now if you join online, the truth is that for some of the sessions it will be practically impossible for you to participate, but you could have a schedule with a lecturer. So on days practical sessions will be held, you make yourself physically available. So if the practical session is about assembling computer systems and putting the parts together, it won't happen that because you are not in class you only view others doing it and you don't get to do anything. Okay, and then there's also a private study session. The private study session actually helps students to read further and appreciate what they have learned, and also they are given some assignments, okay, where they are supposed to do a number of research, and if they have issues with that, they can always come to class and come and ask further questions. And then to top it up, last but not the least, the model is also a 100% project model, which means that there is no exams for this particular model. You only have to do the projects that are usually very practical in nature, where you have practical sessions and all of that. You'll be given marks for it, and that is the basis for the assessment of this particular model. And that brings us to the end of computer systems and introductory model. Okay, and I believe you have enjoyed the session, and I'm expecting you to register in any of our branches, okay, to register for the level 4 DBIT, okay, which is a diploma program, and the introduction to computer system is just one of the models. Okay, if just one of the models can be this interesting, I bet you could think of what the other models could bring. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for participating. So that's it.
Oh, you're done?
Yes, I'm done.